J.J. McCarthy, let's just take out the pick six in the first three quarters. What did he do in the fourth that could materialize the rest of the season? Because clearly he gained confidence. You know what I said Monday or Tuesday? I said there's a little Baker Mayfield that he plays with great emotion. Michael Penix, for instance, does not. Michael Penix drops. Tua doesn't play with huge emotion. But when I watched Baker and J.J. McCarthy, when J.J. McCarthy hit Justin Jefferson fourth quarter on the sideline, literally, his accuracy and velocity seem to improve. He plays on the sideline after the game. He's a very emotional player. So what did he do in the fourth that you think he can replicate going forward?
Well, it's funny. You mentioned that throw, that 17-yarder on the outcut to Jefferson, which was actually his best throw. It was a far hash, deep sideline throw, sitting on his back foot and driving the ball. But, you know, watching that game, it made me think so much about the connection between the offensive coordinator and the quarterback. Because we're looking right now at Aaron Jones' touchdown. That was a schemed play, and it worked. So when a coordinator calls a play and the primary receiver is open and the play breaks down the defense the way you anticipate when you make the play call and the quarterback executes it, which is what you want, by the way. That's what every coordinator wants. Where do we give the credit? Is the credit to the coordinator? Is the credit to the quarterback? You know, executing well-designed plays. Look what Sam Darnold did in Minnesota last year. And now J.J. McCarthy will reap the benefits of Kevin O'Connell being one of the best in the league at being able to do this. Now, obviously, you want your quarterback to have confidence and feel like he can drop back and make those throws. But it always makes me think about the connection between the play caller and the quarterback.
Yeah. Wow. I'm glad he brought this up because this is a conversation that I most definitely want to have. So this is exactly why I've now really started to emphasize coach-quarterback duos. And I've done this now for about a year or so, where it's no longer as interesting to me to just look at the coach or just the quarterback individually. It is coach-quarterback duo, coach-quarterback duo, coach-quarterback duo, coach-quarterback duo. And when Gay Cole is asking, you know, who deserves more credit in any of these given moments, to me it's not necessarily an either when you're talking about now like a scheme throw, when it's very clearly defined in terms of, you know, this is where you're going with the ball. Like this is the play. This is what you're supposed to do. You're not going through your progressions. You're not having to like do too much, read these defenses, try to figure all this about it. It's like, this is a scheme throw. This is, you know, can you execute it? And you should be able to. But just, I talk about execution all the time. And can a quarterback execute the offense? And now that is a little bit different than just kind of doing one of these, you know, scheme throws or, you know, a screen pass or whatever it may be. And I've talked about this before where, you know, I'm glad John Middleclough shared this story where he had a conversation with Andy Reid and talked about like, you know, these quarterbacks are throwing so much more now in college. Like, is it hard for you to evaluate quarterback play, this, that? And he's just like, you know, like, no, it's awesome. I got like a great sample size. He's like, but I remove all the like the behind the line of scrimmage type passes and whatnot. And it's just because essentially it's just like these are now schemes from the coaching staff. And again, not all scheme throws are going to be like a screen pass or behind the line of scrimmage or whatever it may be. But it's just there's a constant balance and dance, quite frankly, between the coach and the quarterback, And sometimes the coach absolutely bails out the quarterback and is able to consistently put him in a position to succeed. And sometimes the quarterback has to absolutely bail out the coach who just can't seem to get the game plan just is not quite working right now, or, you know, they can't protect the quarterback, and so you can't even run the play that you really want to run. And so, you know, best of luck to you. But it's always this constant communication between the two of them. And it's like that for any coach quarterback duo. And specifically when I'm saying this, you know, offensive coach, offensive coordinator, depending on the situation for this, it's clearly Kevin Unell, the offensive coach, who's also going to be the coordinator. And so that's through the lens that I look at these things very much so. And it's funny to me because when we're talking about an offense and the success of a team, it really matters a lot less to me who deserves the credit unless we're trying to have like the conversation of who's the best quarterback in the NFL, who's in the GOAT conversation. And I talk about this a lot, but if you're looking at it through the more team success, which is what you should be if you're a fan, it's just like it kind of doesn't really matter to me. But if you are trying to evaluate, can this quarterback, get you to the next level? Well, then you need to also be able to have that conversation as well, because you need to figure out, can this quarterback reliably not only execute my offense, but also when there are hiccups and there are obstacles and things that you have to overcome, can this quarterback get it done, and can he be resilient in the biggest moments? Because that's ultimately what you're asking a quarterback to do in those big, massive games. You need your quarterback to be resilient. It's not so much you need him to ball out and throw for 400 yards. You need him to be able to handle the moment. And when things are not going at 100% according to plan, can you still keep a semblance of an offense going, or defense? Obviously we're talking specifically now with quarterbacks, but can you just sustain this right now? Can you at least just keep this okay until we get to the half or whatever it is? And obviously there's times that we need you to be great and also throw for 400 yards. But it's really like, can you be resilient in this moment? Can you step up when we need it most? And that's really fundamentally what you're asking your quarterback to do. And again, we can have all the belief in the world of J.J. McCarthy, but we don't know this right now. It's week 1, we're going into week 2, and I don't care what you've done in college or high school or any, that doesn't matter. This is what we're doing right now. And this is why I said, and now I've repeated this a million times, and fortunately I probably won't have to kind of after this week, is I kept saying about J.J. McCarthy of just like the bare minimum, he just needs to be able to execute the offense. That's all he really needs to do, because we know how great Kevin O'Connell is as a coach. And so, as long as he can just execute the offense, you're going to win a ton of games. And now if you can execute the offense at an incredibly high level, which is what we saw, for instance, Brock Purdy do in 22 and 23, it's like, well, then that quarterback deserves a lot of credit. Yeah, you have a great coach. Yeah, you have a great team around you, but you are consistently operating this offense at the highest level. The quarterback deserves a tremendous amount of credit and praise. And then the next level of that is, can you work beyond that, right? Can you work beyond that? And so far, we've seen JJ be able to do both. We can throw out that first half, those first 3 quarters, because it was the first 3 quarters of his entire NFL career. But now it is to continue to move forward. And this is what I also said about a lot of these younger quarterbacks. It's like, I expect them, especially when they're with great coaches, I expect them to look awesome in the beginning of the game when you're running these scripted plays. Because if you can't run those plays, well, then you just fundamentally can't be a quarterback. Because it's kind of like, but then how did you get drafted in it? Again, if you have a great coach, I expect you to be able to find your way through that. And then it's like, of course, now when you are in the 3rd, 4th quarter, what are some of the decisions that you're making here? And that's why I loved how a man really highlighted on that one read option play where J.J. McCarthy went in for the touchdown. It was a beautiful play call, and then it was executed beautifully by J.J. McCarthy. With the decision-making that he made, he read it perfectly. And the decision that he made was the right decision, and then it was run and executed. Now, I mean, on a more physical sense of it, he executed it perfectly as well. So we got to see a combination of him doing what he needs to do, as well as just being an avatar for Kevin O'Connell. That is oftentimes that, what you need a quarterback to be is just to kind of be an extension of the coach. And it's always a fascinating balance between those two. So I'm pretty happy that that's kind of the direction that Greg Cosell took it. Honestly, I know that's not always the answer and the take that fans want to hear, because they just want often to hear just how amazing their quarterback is, or how great or how amazing, and that's the answer no matter what. I'm always going up against that with all the various quarterbacks in the NFL. Obviously, the most notable one you guys all know. And so it's funny, because to me, the way how Gay Cole answered that question makes me feel like he's really giving majority of the credit to Kevin O'Connell. And I think that's okay. I think that's okay because that's the advantage you have with a Kevin Unal. And it's like what I said this to the 49ers fans. It's a great problem to have. It's a great problem to have. And at the core of it, you want the best coach you can have. It's more important to me to have the best coach than the best quarterback because the best coach will be able to consistently and reliably put just an average or good quarterback in situations to succeed again and again and again. A great quarterback, it is hard to overcome coaching that can't consistently put you in a position to succeed. You are constantly going up against it. So you have, from my viewpoint, really the most important step right there with Kevin O'Connell. And that puts you in an amazing situation. And now we're through the exploring process of let's see what we can do with J.J. McCarthy right now. And we've already seen a lot of great stuff, but it's like, let's now see week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, and beyond. And because I even see this now, trust O'Connell to put J.J. in position to succeed. It's like that can't be the question because, of course, Kevin Unal can put J.J. McCarthy in a position to succeed, right? Like that question need not be answered, right? Or asked, excuse me, because it's to me it's so obvious. But I'm just really excited to see JJ's career continue to evolve and just watch this season and all the ups and downs that it's going to go through and kind of how Kevin Unal decides to navigate this whole thing with him. And yeah, I still very much think that this will be a 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards type of thing where we're going to see some awesome moments and then we're going to see some moments like we saw in this very game. Like it's just bound to happen. But I think there's a lot of exciting times moving forward here and you know, really the rest is to just wait and see. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about J.J. McCarthy and Kevin O'Connell's relationship with one another? And, you know, how this is impacting the Minnesota Vikings? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So, you agree with me or disagree with me? Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it, and please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much.